How often do you flick your cards when playing CCGs? I actually don't do that, and I hate people who do. Um, Hold on. Yeah, this is just an excerpt from that manga where you have that one guy who's constantly flicking his cards across the table. He can't help himself. He just has to keep doing it because he thinks it makes him look cool and pro and whatnot. And she just gets so fed up with him constantly shuffling his cards in his hand, she punches him in the face. I think the reason it bothers me more so than it might bother others is that they have this idea in their head. They do things that they see people in other games do and just mimic it because they think it makes them look good. It's literally monkey see, monkey do. It's like, oh, I watched a Magic the Gathering Pro Tour, and all the top players in the Pro Tour were flicking their cards in their hand when it wasn't their turn and they had nothing to do. So if I do this, I'm going to become the best Yu-Gi-Oh player ever and win every YCS and go to the World Championships and make a ton of money off of sponsorships and whatnot. It's like, no, you're just going to annoy people because you're sitting in a like 20 square foot room playing Yu-Gi-Oh in the inner city, and there are no sponsorship opportunities. Nobody is here watching you. You're going to go X4 at the regional. You're going to spend the money traveling to a YCS in the next city and go X7. You're not becoming a good player for flicking your cards. Damn! Understood. Buying a Spellgrounds playmat. Oh, that's right. That's the other big stupid thing, is that Yu-Gi-Oh players think that they need to own a Spellground because it just gives off this really pompous air, right? Because the entire purpose of Spellgrounds is that they're two-player playmats. You're supposed to lay it out across the whole table so both players can use the playmat as a way of, you know, maybe someone didn't bring a playmat or whatever the case may be. Both players are supposed to use the Spellground, but Yu-Gi-Oh players, they buy these Spellgrounds because they think, oh, having the Spellground is going to make me into a pro player. All the Magic pros who are making tons of money on these pro tours have Spellgrounds, and then they never use the Spellground as a two-player mat. And, you know, to some degree, I get it, right? Most people who show up to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament are going to have their own playmat, so there's no point in actually using the Spellground as a two-player mat. But then that leads us to two specific problems. A, if there's no reason to ever use your two-player mat as a two-player mat, don't bring a two-player mat with you. Get a regular playmat. And B, in the cases where, you know, you're sitting down at your local shop, maybe someone forgot their playmat that day, maybe you're playing against a young player who doesn't have a playmat, this is the time where you actually should be using the Spellground for its intended purpose as a two-player mat, but they don't use their mats as two-player mats when someone forgets their mat or they don't have a mat, because like, oh, I don't want this filthy commoner touching my playmat and getting it dirty and infecting me with their common cards. And then of course everyone has the TI-84 because for whatever reason they think it's hot shit to have a calculator that everybody uses in high school to calculate their life points. So stupid. But as Natalie is saying right now, never mind all of that. Let's change the subject.